Hey everybody, Noma Langam Sally Moses here with the mochamoguls.com. I'm here with our personal finance expert, Dr. John Beckem. How are you doing today, JB?
I'm doing excellent. How you doing again, Noma?
I'm doing great. I sometimes call you JB, and I want everybody to know I have your permission to call you that, but they can call you Dr. Beckem. Uh, so, today we're talking about automatic budgeting and investing, which I was happy to admit that just on the onset, I'm not sure what that entails, but I'm here with my notebook, ready to learn and take notes and implement. So the floor is yours, Dr. Beckham.
Oh, great. So some of the things that I think about is individuals who might be struggling, with budgeting, the discipline aspect, if you will, financial literacy or financial investing or creating generational wealth. And one of the things that can help you out is to have things automatically deducted from your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And you can set up several automatic deductions. Most people think of the normal automatic payroll deduction, that goes from their paycheck being automatically deducted into their checking or savings account at a bank. But you don't just have to have your payroll deducted into one banking account. It could be several banking accounts. It can be also brokerage accounts. So let's start with the automatic budgeting, right?
Okay.
So one of the things that I would recommend, especially if you're struggling in this area, paying bills on time, you want to rebuild your credit, forgetting certain things, is sit down, tabulate what do you have to pay every single month automatically, whether it's your mortgage or rent, whether it's insurance for your car, whether it's your car payment, whether it's certain credit cards, or even utility bills, light bill, gas bill, water, even your cable and phone. All these different things can be automatically deducted through ACH. And this is one thing you can do. So let's say you take all those bills and say, okay, every month I got to pay these 7 bills, and these 7 bills equate to be $500. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
making these up for example, right? So you can say, all right, I want my, out of my check, I'm going to set up an automatic payroll deduction for $500 to be taken out monthly if you get paid once a month, or $250 if you get paid bi-monthly, and if you get paid weekly, $125. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have it deducted. I'm gonna open up a separate checking account or savings account at maybe even a different bank than what your automatic payroll deduction is going to right now. So if you get paid a check and your whole check goes to ABC Bank, and that's what you normally use, so you might want to say, okay, I'm gonna open up a separate account at ABC Bank, or I might use a totally different bank. And so
Mm-hmm.
now I'm gonna have a portion of my check go to my regular ABC Bank, but this $500 I'm gonna have deposited into 123 Bank. And so that $500 is now deposited in 123 Bank, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna set up an automatic checking withdrawal electronically for each one of those accounts. So you contact those accounts, electronically, usually on the internet, and you
Mm-hmm.
give them the routing number and your checking account number for that 123 Bank, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're not worried about them having access to all your money because your money is at ABC Bank. But
Right.
I put this $500 that's automatically coming from my paycheck into 123, and every single month, my mortgage, my car insurance, my utilities, my credit card payments, and whatever else, student loans, what have you, is automatically going to be done. So now you've taken the onus off of yourself, right? You don't
Right.
have to worry about writing a check to each one of these. You don't have to worry about when is all of the due dates. So you know that these things are going to be paid on time every single month, and it's automatically done. And you
Right.
can do that pretty much for anything or any person that you owe, right?
Right.
So that's your automatic budgeting. It's going to really help people who have a hard time being disciplined to pay all their bills on time, to pay their bills. After a while, you just get used to it. Automatically happens.
Okay. I just want to interject that this process assumes that your life and your finances are not a hot mess, because otherwise this is just not possible. In other words,
What do you mean?
if you have more expenses than you actually have income, if you have overdraft, if it's a mess, if this assumes some level of normalcy, which if
Yeah,
we do,
if you have overdraft fees that's accumulating an account, this is not going to work.
right.
However, but still, if you still have a lot of bills, because I heard you talk about somebody who might be in a mess. So
Hmm.
excluding the overdraft fees, you still can utilize this to help you, right?
Right.
So you might say, okay, well, I got $500 coming in, but I got $600 of expenses.
Right.
Well, you got to figure out, how do I divide this up or either bring in more money?
Right.
And there's other segments that we have done for that.
Right.
But still, the bills you have to get paid, whether you pay them all, whether you pay a portion of it, whether you pay some of them and not others, you still can utilize this format to have that automatic budgeting, those things being paid, which is
Right.
going to help you rebuild your credit.
Right. And then the simple thing here would probably be prioritizing, first of all.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
The second thing is automatic investing, right?
Right.
So I can have, part of my payroll being deposited at ABC Bank, which might be the bulk of my money because that's coming right out my check. I might have these five different bills are going to be paid from 123 Bank, and I might have $500 going to that. And you might say, hey, I got $100 or whatever that I want to have invested.
Hmm.
If you are already involved in a 401k or a 403b plan, through your employer, that money is automatically being taken out your check anyway.
Right.
So that's going to your 401k or your 403b. Now, what I'm talking about, the automatic investing, is doing outside of that. So if
Right.
you want to, in addition to that, have a Roth IRA, which is something that I highly recommend, which you're using after tax dollars,
Hmm.
you can contact the institution itself, whether it's Vanguard, whether it's TIA Craft, whether it's Merrill Lynch or some of the other ones, and you can set up a payroll deduction specifically for them. So every pay period, Vanguard is going to deduct, $25, $50, $100, and they're going to automatically put into your Roth IRA, which you have already determined how it's going to be invested, whether it's an S&P 500 index fund, whether it's Walmart stock, whether it's mutual funds or a combination of various different things. But the key thing is what it begins to now help you do is I only got to be very cognizant or responsible now. Whatever I have left, which goes to ABC Bank, that's what I have to work with.
Right.
Because the money needed to pay the bills and the money that's needed for the investments have already been taken out and have already been paid.
Right.
So now either you got zero left over or a few dollars left over or more than that left over. As you begin to build up this pie, if you will, then that's what you kind of working with. You can also set up an automatic savings plan, which is an addition
Hmm.
to, right? Some people like to have an emergency account or they like to have extra funds for a rainy day. And so you can have that also automatically deducted from your payroll check and maybe sent to a savings account for that particular purpose or a money market account. And
Right.
so, so for a person who says, okay, I got $1,000 coming in and 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 $600 is going towards bills, another $200 is going to investments, and another $100 is going towards the emergency fund. Then
Hmm.
what you're going to have in your regular account is for me to manage my $100
Right.
because everything else is already being paid for and is being taken care of, and it's going to be paid for on time every single time, which is going to help you turn around your credit. So if you already got bad credit because of late payments, no payments,
Hmm.
this is going to be a way to make sure you start to build positive payments on time.
Right. And what we're really doing here is using a system that's been proven to work.
Absolutely.
For the most part, most people who work a job don't try and figure out their taxes every pay period to see how much they're going to pay to the IRS. It happens automatically. The same thing
Right.
applies with, health insurance again. And these are things that we know are very important to pay. So we've removed ourselves from the process and automated it. So what you're really doing is, or what you're really advising us to do, is to take the same process and apply it to yet one more or two more things, which you're saying are really also important, but people have a tendency of putting them as a low priority.
Absolutely. And especially this is going to be very beneficial to the person who might lack discipline, right? So you're
Hmm.
trying to establish that discipline of being able to do it on your own. But for right now, for whatever reason, you could just have a person that struggles. And the key thing is to admit where you're at. Hey, I struggle with this. So if I can set it up where it's automated or automatically done, and I don't have to put my hands on it to make it happen, knowing that it's going to get paid every single time on time, then it's a great start until you can
Right.
develop that discipline yourself, if it's even needed.
Right, right. So the three things that I got were automatic budgeting, and then from that, you do automatic investing, and then another option is automatic savings. Now, we've done segments already that talked about emergency funds and talked about savings and so forth, but can you just give us a quick overview of, how I know you say 8 months in savings of life expenses, and you've talked about emergency funds, but can you just give us a quick overview of that?
Yeah, so I think it's vital important for a person to be able to have 8 months of gross pay as an emergency fund. And, of course, most people just don't have that money sitting aside or we wouldn't be talking about it. So it's something that you got to build up slowly.
Right.
And the reason why I say 8 months of gross pay emergency fund is because if you've been looking and watching or following our latest recessions or unemployment numbers, the average person has been unemployed longer than 3 or 6 months. So
Right.
you have a lot of financial people out there who says you need to have 3 to 6 months as emergency fund. And I say,
Hmm.
well, the average person has been out of work between 8, 9 months or greater. So if
Hmm.
you only had 3 to 6 months, you're still hurting. What are you going to do for the remaining 5 months, 6 months, and so forth? And so, therefore, if you build up an emergency fund of at least 8 months of your gross pay, then you should be able to maintain your current standard of living for about a year. And you don't want to just sit around and do nothing for that year. Start to downsize or get rid of the things that are not need based or necessary, so that you can stretch that money out longer as you receive unemployment, and benefits, or whether or not you're just purely living off your savings. So that's
Right.
vitally important. I would not put it in a regular savings account because a regular savings account is going to pay you less than 1%.
Hmm.
You might want to put it in a money market account. Again, a money market account acts just like a regular checking account. You can write checks, you can go in and get the cash money, but it gives you a better interest rate. It gives you a better interest of what they're going to pay you on your money. Usually 1%, between 1 to 2%, 1% or greater. So that's what I was talking about as far as emergency fund.
Okay. So 8 months of living expenses. And I would go so far as to say, just speaking as a non-finance professional, but just maybe as a wise person, is I wouldn't wait until I was in a bad situation to start cutting back. I think it's something that if you look at your finances and you don't have 8 months saved, then you need to cut back now until you've built it back up, and then maybe you can consider going back to, I don't know, the excessive way you were living or whatever it is. And because the thing is, if you really don't have what a finance professional expert is saying you should have, it means that you're on the brink of a crisis without really being aware of it.
Yeah, and see, the 8 months emergency fund actually saves your money. And let me
Hmm.
give you a couple of examples of how it does it.
Right.
So the average person, according to statistics, the average person has about $500 as a deductible for their auto insurance.
Right.
So most people feel comfortable that worst case scenario, they can come up with $500 of deductible.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have an emergency fund of 8 months of gross pay, you can raise your deductible to be $2,000 and
Right.
actually lower your premium payment, right? So you actually save money on your premium. You'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, whoa, well, $2,000 is a lot of money. And I say, well, wait a minute, don't worry, because you got over $2,000 in your emergency fund.
Right.
And that is an emergency. If
Right.
you had an accident where you had to get your car fixed, you can afford to pay the $2,000 and have a lower premium year after year. You can also lower, also in an emergency, cash rules. Cash is king. So
Mm-hmm.
if you need a brand new hot water tank, where most people might charge it or something like that, if you can go in and say, "Hey, can you give me a discount?" and you put Benjamins in front of them, you usually always get a discount. I
Right.
have found that to be true myself.
Right. Absolutely. So great
And when
information
I
here.
say Benjamins, that means $100 bills for everybody who,
Yes.
who didn't get my lingo.
I did. I actually also had one more question relating something you said earlier. You said an ACH. So for those who don't know what that is, can you spell it out?
Yeah, ACH is what automatic checking, and I'm not sure what the H stands for.
Right.
But
So
it's
just
where
automatic checking.
it's yeah, it's instead of having to write a physical check, it gives the creditor the ability to come in and debit your account through wire transfer.
Right. So
They call it
basically
ACH.
giving somebody permission to take money out of your account, a prescribed amount of money
Yeah,
out of your account.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Got
so
it.
ACH actually stands for Automated Clearinghouse.
Okay.
So Automated Clearinghouse is an electronic network for financial transactions in the United States. And
Okay.
so they do all the processing. Like for instance, I pay my credit card off at the end of every month. I don't
Hmm.
physically send them a check. I
Right.
just go into my banking account. I go into the credit card by website and I say, okay, make a payment of blah, 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 and you put in your routing number, your checking number, and they automatically go in my account and take that money that I have okayed.
Understood.
And so you can do this with anything. You could do it with mortgages, car loans, credit cards, utility bills, cable bills, phone bills. And so if you already know, and I'm just kind of recapping, if you already know that every single month, my phone bill is $100. Every single month, my mortgage is, 1,500 or whatever. If these numbers are very static
Hmm.
every single month, then I can have that money automatically deducted from my paycheck, put into account, and then give permission to ACH, the automatic clearinghouse, to go in and deduct for each one of these creditors. And
Right.
now I don't even have to think about it, right? I don't have to
Right.
think about, oh, did I pay that bill? Did they get paid? Matter of fact, I don't even have to give paper invoices or paper bills in the mail anymore. I could just sign up for the electronic statement.
Right, right. And actually, I've gone so far as the ones where there's varying amounts. I actually estimate, and then sometimes I'll slightly overpay or slightly underpay, but it still keeps that process of having the habit of having it done, so you don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely. Another good way to, even for that averaging is your gas bill or electric bill, right? So,
Right.
it depending upon whether you got AC or not, most times it goes down in the summertime, go a little bit higher in the winter because you got to heat your home.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know that if you look at a year's worth of payments, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so even though it's less in the summer and maybe spring and more in the fall and the winter, if you look at the 12 bills and just average it by 12, then I know what
Mm-hmm.
my average monthly bill is. So even though I might get a bill that says $80 in the summertime, I'm still sending them $130, $140. So
Right.
therefore, in the wintertime, when there's a bill that's 180, 190, it don't matter because I've already got this extra money and I'm still just sitting in 130, 130,
Right.
130. So it's a good way to not have to experience those highs and lows based upon seasons.
Right. Great information. So just before we close out, I want to just remind everybody where they can find you. Um, Actually, I have it where I might be able to pull it out. Yep, right in front of us here. They could go to drjohnbeckham.com. where you also have a blog, and very useful information like this here is available at drjohnbeckem.com under that blog tab. I also encourage people who are listening to go to teachable.com, where you have the Personal Finance Institute. Right now it's called the Life After Debt Institute, and over there you'll find a lot of the Dr. Ask Dr. Beckem answers and segments, and then there's also going to be some content over there that some of it is you're going to be asked to pay a small amount, or some of it is free. But I guarantee you that if you start to implement a lot of the things that you're hearing here, your financial future will definitely get better. So again, thank you so much, Dr. Beckem. I appreciate your time and your expertise, and just want to say thank you to everybody for listening.
You're welcome. You guys have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you in our next video.
Thank you, guys. Bye.